Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the very first installment of #AskSwingvy. I'm Julian, and every week my team and we aim to answer your burning questions on anything and everything that's HR related. So to kick things off this week, let's begin with a little introduction of who Swingvy is. So Swingvy is an all-in-one HR platform that helps businesses to digitize and streamline your HR task. So when you talk about things like employee data, leave, claims, payroll, attendance, these are some of the things that we have already streamlined and digitized into our system that will help simplify and ease your HR administrative tasks. For this week, especially, we are going to be touching on questions of payroll and taxation. And we did ask you all to send in your questions, to which, thank you very much. You have all responded well to it. We also did put up a poll last week asking in terms of what are your payroll struggles? What are the issues that you are facing? And a majority of you said that cost and time is one major factor that affects your payroll run and cycle every month. Do reach out, because in Swingvy, we have actually tackled this issue for you, and we are able to show you how easy is it to do your payroll in less than 10 minutes, actually, to do it with Swingvy. So to answer all your burning questions that you've been having, I'm joined today by my colleague, Nico. Nico heads the payroll team in Malaysia, and he comes with more than 15 years of experience. Hello, Nico.
Hi, Julian. Yeah, thanks, Julian, for introductions. Good day, everybody. My name is Nico, and I'm thrilled today to be here to help our audience to answer all the payroll-related questions. So let's get started.
Great. I think, Nico, let's address budget 2021. There were updates in terms of EPF and in terms of taxation. EPF first, what is the most important update that the public should know about, and how do they go about making those changes?
Yeah, I would say that the budget report will be the biggest concerns for all the company, because every time when the budget announced that more or less it will be affecting the payroll for the following year. So what we have finalized that the fact that of the budget that been announced earlier for the year 2021, there will be two areas will be affecting in our payroll process in the year 2021. So one is the EPF and one is the income tax for the employee. So let's cover about the EPF changes. As you all may aware, for year 2020, the base rate for the employee contribution is set at 7%. So starting from January 2021, so the entire year, the employee base percentage, the contribution will be revised to 9%. So this is the parts that the employer had to be aware of and inform to their employee on these changes. So for those employee, if they require to remain at 11%, so they will have to apply it through the KWSP. And the form will be available in our Swingvy, our knowledge base, and our help center. So this form can be filled up by the admin, and they can increase their contribution from 9% to 11% for those which want to remain at 11%.
Great. Thank you, Nico. So am I right to say as well, the 7% cannot be used next year? Whereas for next year, it's either you choose 11% or 9%.
Indeed, yeah, that will be the 2% that will be available in year 2021.
Take note, ladies and gentlemen, it's 11% or 9%. Nico, what about tax relief? There was an update on that as well, right?
Yes, right. So other than the KWSP, and government also make the announcement on the tax reductions. So this will benefit to those employees where their income is within 50,000 to 70,000 annually. So for those employees, if their income is fall into that category, they will enjoy 1% of the tax reductions. So in other words, is they will pay lesser tax in year 2021.
Nice. I'm sure a lot of them out there are happy to know, are happy to pay lesser tax. And just to add on to what Nicole has said as well, in Swingvy, our platform, we do prepare your EA form and E form for you as an employer, which comes complimentary. So part of your cost that you all mentioned in terms of running payroll, especially year end, in preparing forms, our system automatically generates your EA form and E form for your employees. So let's dive right now into our first question. So the first question, Nicole, how is the PCB deduction determined for an employee? I guess this is in reference to general and how it's also done in our Swingvy platform.
Yeah, so for the tax calculation, I would say that will be the biggest concerns of most of our users, all right? Because if they do not use a proper payroll system, and the tax computation can come very confusing because that will need a lot of formula and also a lot of elements involved to get the correct tax computation. So the good news is Swingvy is a certified LHDN vendor where the result calculated by Swingvy is exactly followed by our Malaysia LHDN, our Inland Revenue Board. So during the onboarding, our system will require the user to fill up all the necessary information in order to carry out the correct tax calculation. So to have a peace of mind, the admin can also compare the result, which is calculated by Swingvy, to compare with the LHDN result by just a click. All right. So they can always counter check with the detailed computation by the LHDN. So this is what the beauty parts of having the Swingvy as the payroll system.
Great. And am I also right to say, Nicole, that with Swingvy system, you can also, it also auto calculates your EPF and your source code and EIS as well?
Yeah, right. That will be essential. Yeah, because for EPF and SOCSO, yeah, that is pretty straightforward. Yeah, I will say that because they will have the scheduler which is provided by the respective department like our KWSP or SOCSO. So they will just have to compare the range of the employee income and they can get the contribution amount directly from the scheduler. But when it comes to income tax, yeah, that a bit tricky because now they have make it as the fully formulated and that will have a lot of elements. So yeah, that is a part that we will make it right for the income tax for the payroll result.
Great, great. All right, on to the next question. I have a new joiner in the company. What are the forms required for the employee to submit to the new employer?
Yes, right. So when it comes to this part, I will believe that most of the payroll admins, they will have the concerns because by just hiring a new employee to the company, the correct process, okay, for that is they will need to obtain the past employment income from the new joiner.
Would
So
it be
usually this
the
past
form?
yes, exactly. That is a form specifically is called TP3, right? So this TP3 is the form which will record the employee past income from the previous employer. So this information can be uploaded into Swingvy. So how do we manage of this past income? Why do we need that? Yeah, because again, that is a tax related information. Because as I mentioned just now, how do we calculate the correct income tax is based on the employee annual salary. So for instance, like if the employee, if they are joining middle of the year, so we should also declare what they have earned before they are joining a new company. So this is the parts that will be covered in our payroll onboarding as well. If you do not sure how do you upload the TP3 for your new joiner, yeah, you can always reach out to us and we are happy to help on that.
Thank you, Nicole. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, just to add on a bit more on what Nicole has mentioned as well, in Swingvy, every new client that comes on board with us, we do provide you with an onboarding team. So the onboarding team is there to ensure that your setup, account setup, and everything runs well, especially when you're running your first payroll. There's no hiccups on that. Okay. Moving on. Next question we have is, how many times can I run payroll in a month with Swingvy?
Yes, all right. Yeah, that would be the good one. Yeah, because generally I would say that most of the company they will only pay once a month. All right, but there will be always some exceptionals. All right, but
Yeah,
the good thing
payouts
is,
and things like that.
yeah, right. So as we all know that the based on the contract, yeah, the employee can be a monthly paid per cycles, or they can be fortnightly. So for those company, if they practice a fortnightly payroll, then they can actually pay the advance during every 2 weeks of the month. So in Swingvy, you all can enable this module, which is called the mid-month advance. You can pay out a partial salary to your employee, and you can pay the remaining come to the month end. So yeah, that will be the parts that which is the some of the extra features that we provide to those companies which require that. So other than that, we will also provide a ad hoc module, which is the ones that the company they can pay some allowance, for instance, like commissions or bonus before the month end processing. So the the possible scenario is some festive season like the Deepavali that have just passed, where it come earlier than the month end, but the company probably they want to pay some token to the employee, all right, to celebrate the festive, all right, yeah. So it can be done in the Swingme system as well, and this advance can be combined together with the month end salary. So in summary, yeah, Swingvy does provide a multiples payout in a month. So to be precise, yeah, we allow a multiple run in a month as well.
Great, great. And to add on a bit more, in terms of EPF, when you say, because we in Swingvy you are able to also pay in advance, how about the statutory calculations then? Will it be double, or is it going to be then pushed towards the end of the month?
Yeah, I would say that regardless how many times that the employer have to pay to the employee, but for the requirement by the statutory board, they only allow one contribution per month. All right. So for instance, like if they have paid out the mid-month and also the month end, so to the employee, even though they receive twice in the month, but the contribution will be considered as a single contribution for that particular month. So yeah, this is the parts that we have already taken care. If you require to pay more than one time, then we will combine everything into one single payment when it comes to the month end.
Great, great. All right. On to our next question. My company requires management approval prior to running payroll. Can I assign a specific approval?
Yeah, that is the part that I will say is a unique features provided by the Swingvy. Yeah, because our motto is to create a paperless environment in the workplace, and this is also one of the efforts that we make in our system as well. So you know that most of the system probably they will start to issue a e-payslip, e-report. Yeah, but when it comes to the approval process, this is the parts that usually if the company have a payroll maker, the maker will always have to print out the report in the Excel or in the PDF. So they will still need to require the signatures from the company owner. So we make this process online, means that they can just click a button and it will be sent it to their company owner to approve it online as well. So yeah, the answer is yes. We are allowed to assign it to the approval online.
Great, great. Perfect. Next question that we have, Nicole. All right. Okay, I have a new joiner during the mid-month. Does the system auto prorates the salary calculation?
Yeah, because I will say that the mid-month, it will not be prorated as well because mid-month usually is a fraction of your salary. So depends of the requirement, like the contract. If the mid-month, they will just pay out a fixed amount, like a few hundred ringgit. All right. So yeah, it can be preset in the system and it will be reversed or we will be adjusted during the month end. So the salary proration will only happen during the month end, which they will base on the employee date join to prorate accordingly.
I see, I see. Great. I hope now you understand a bit more, ladies and gentlemen, as to how Swingvy works and how we can actually simplify and streamline your payroll task. The next question that we have, so what are the important dates that employees and employer should take note of in regards to filing of income tax? As we all aware, income tax season in Malaysia is coming up very soon in about another 3 to 4 months' time. What are the important dates that should they take note of?
Yeah, I would say that the payroll, yeah, it means that in some terms, payroll will be act as the accounting, right? Because payroll is what the process to record the employee salary. So there will be a various kind of date where the payroll admin should take note. So one is the monthly due date, which is the date that they have to be aware of when do they have to pay and clear the contribution from their payroll salary. So the date will be fall on 15th of the following month. So for instance, like if you are processing a payroll for November, so by 15th of December, you will need to do the payment and submission to the respective government, the statutory body. And there will be another date which is happen in annually when they have concluded the payroll for the entire year. So the E form and the EA form will be required to generate and distribute to the employee. So the EA form is the part that the employer will issue to the employee. And the good news is with Swingvy system, to prepare the EA form, it will technically taking up like in a very effective way because the employer will just have to click a button and it can be sent to the employee account directly. So they do not have to spend weeks to prepare the EA form. And also come to the E form, yeah, we have also prepared the compatible file where they can download and upload to the LHDN directly. So this is some of the tips, yeah, because starting year 2019, LHDN no longer accepting a hard copy e-form, which means that the employer will not able to submit Excel or PDF in a hard copy manner. So they will always require the employer to submit it online. And Swingvy will already make this file ready in the system with just a click a button and they can generate the compatible file to make the filing.
Ah, okay. But how about in terms of commissions, in terms of allowances? Are those all subject to statutory? How does an employer then define those different variables as to what is required and what is not required then?
Yeah, I will say that will depend on the nature of the allowance. Yeah, because to make it in general, all right. So if this allowance is paid in monthly basis, all right. So that will be considered as the employee income. So we know that usually employee they will have drawing their basic salary. So on top of the basic salary, if the employer is paying some allowance, which is in the monthly basis. For instance, like they are paying some meal allowance or some transport allowance. So if it's a fixed amount, then it will be have to subjected to EPF, income tax, and SOCSO. And if this amount is not fixed, but this is the reimbursement by the employee. So that means that if the employee, if they are going outstation and they claim the mileage or the claim on their toll or the parking. So this is a reimbursement from the company and is not considered as an income. Then this type of allowance will not be subjected to any statutory deductions.
Great. Just to add on as well, on top of what Nicole has mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find out in detail as to what is subjected to statutory, what are not, in terms of all variable allowances, do head on to KWSP website. So when you are at the website, there is an employer tab, and underneath, there's a look for what you need to know. So in there, KWSP has also outlined in detail what is subjected and what is not. All right. Next question we have. So next question that we have is income tax exemption and income tax relief. What is the difference of that?
Yeah, I will say that LHDN, they do provide a guideline on what are the things that can be exempted from the income tax calculation. So like I mentioned just now, some of the things which is we consider as a prerequisite item. So like you can have the assumptions of 6,000 on the travel, and probably you can have childcare for 1,500 per year. So for all these things, when you enter in the Swingvy, then we will automatically exclude out to be calculated in the income tax. So the relief part is also part of the benefit provided by the LHDN. So the relief which is involved in the monthly payroll calculation is including the personal relief. So every person, if they are the working adult, then they will be entitled to 8,000 of the personal relief. And also they will entitle on the relief of their spouse and also their children. So if you are married and your spouse is working, then you will entitle 4,000 of relief. And if you have kids, then every kids will have 2,000 of relief. So yeah, this will be the parts that will be involved in your monthly payroll calculation, which is everything handled by Swingvy.
Great, great. There's also a question that came in terms of like, what is HRDF and which type of employers are required to contribute? I guess this is one popular question that I've also received in terms of what does HRDF do, and if a company wants to be a part of it, and what are the contribution rates like? Could you explain on that for a bit further?
Yeah, right. I would say that the HRDF, there will be two categories because for some industry, like if they are in the manufacturing, if they are in mining, and they are in some of the sectors, all right. So those companies, they are mandatory to join as a member of the HRDF. So before we dive in further, the HRDF is the Human Development Funds, okay, where this body is encourage the company to join in and pay a 1% of the salary every month as a contribution. So this deduction is solely paid out by the employer. It's not coming out from the employee's salary. Yeah. So if the company having like less than 10 people, then their contribution will be 0.5%. So if above that, that will be 1%. So they can sign up as a member in the HRDF website. Then they can start to do the contribution to the HRDF. So what can they do with this contribution? They can use this fund to send the employee to the training, because for some sector, they will require the employee to keep on improving their skill set, and the HRDF will have some trainer which is certified HRDF claimable. So they do not have to invest on additional money to train their employee, but they can actually utilize the fund they have deducted from their monthly contributions.
I see, I see. All right. Taking on the next question that we have, is Swingvy statutory compliant with updated, and updated with government changes?
Yes, right. I would say that this is the most important part lah, as the payroll or the system providers. All right. So we know that most of the company why they do not want to run the payroll by themselves, because there will be some changes which is regarding to the compliance issue that they might not get updated. So as the software, as a system provider, we will always keep it updated as what the government has announced. So like the topic that we have discussed earlier, based on the budget report, then if there's any changes, yeah, we will be make it effective as what the requirement by the government requirement. So as the payroll admin, yeah, they do not have to worry about the changes, because in Swingvy, we will always send out the newsletter to our existing customer, where they will always keep it posted on the changes coming up.
Yes, correct, ladies and gentlemen. With Swingvy, besides as well, we sending out newsletters. Every account that joins Swingvy platform is given an account manager. So your account manager is there to update you on all the latest regulations, changes, and we will also always notify you in terms of what changes we have done in the platform, what's required on your end, and government changes. Okay. Next question. What are the important dates employees and employer should take note of in regards to filing of income tax? I guess this is much closer to the final date. Are there any other dates besides the final date that people should really take note of?
Yeah, I think that we have covered this question earlier on. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that let me just summarize it, because the date will be coming in two. One is a Monday, which is the 15th of every month, and one is a yearly form, which will be happens like end of February. So that will be the E form, where the employer should be upload their information by the end of the February.
Okay. If uh, what if they've actually done it in advance? I do have a lot of them also asking me if we've actually done it way much earlier, can we actually submit it then? Or we must wait towards close to the date when it's opened by the government? Is there
Yes,
any
yes,
possibility to do
indeed.
it earlier?
Indeed, that will be a time frame. Yeah, because for the LHDN website, they will not leave it active all year long. So they will be open up and they will be sending out the notification. Yeah, I mean that to the employer to inform that they have already make it available for the upload. And also there also a time period where after the closing date, the employer can still submit their Form E, but that will be in another method, right?
I see. I see. Great. The next question that we have comes on how to calculate basic salary. I guess this is more for manual calculation because it says here how to calculate EPF, SOSCO, EIS, PCB. I guess in the general sense, what the person was trying to mention here is how different it is as opposed to doing it now in Excel, and how different would it be when you're doing it in Swingvy to do all these calculations, let's say for a company with an employee size of 10 to 15.
Yeah, I would say that if they using the Excel method, if they got the formula correct, yeah, they can still produce the result as they want. But the benefit of using the system is the continuity of the data, all right? Because what we want to calculate is not only the accuracy of the contribution, but we also want to bring this to the payment and also the reports. So I will say that the beauty of using a system is all the result that calculated, it will be stored in the history and it can be retrieved anytime online. So if you are keeping in the Excel, that will be the risk of the security and also the risk of the corruption of the file. So yeah, I will say that that will be more on the future usage of the the result that they have calculated. Yeah, and
What
also
would
the
you say, Nico, that
compliances. Yeah.
in
Mm.
terms of how fast would an would an employer complete payroll using Swingvy system then?
Yeah, I will say is that that is the parts that we try to make it as time saving as possible, because we want to streamline all the process. So we know that if without the proper system, you will always need to refer the scheduler, or also the manual tax computations, all right, from the website. So with this part, it's all automated, because you do not even have to worry about the accuracy, because we already ensures all the accuracies by our team. So if there will be no any additional requirement, yeah, the employer can complete the payroll within 6 minutes.
Wow. 6 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. That's the magic number. So if you do spend a day, half a day right now doing payroll, in Swingvy platform, we are able to simplify and streamline it for you. Next question that we have. All right, the next question comes from somebody who's very interested to know more about Swingvy's platform in terms of attendance, in terms of how does the platform will eventually calculate attendance, leave, unpaid leave, and things like that. Is Swingvy able to automate that, or is this something manually that will have to be done as well?
Yeah, I would say that the proration and also the no paid leave, yeah, that will be carried out by the system automatically. So because for the salary proration, let's take an example. All right, if the employee, they are not joining full month and they have not serving the full months, all right, then the system will prorate their salary accordingly based on the day they join. So by doing a normal hiring, yeah, regardless when is the employee join, then the system will always carry out from the day it joined until the payday. I mean, at end of the month. So this is a part that the user, they do not have to worry of overpaying the employee as well. So in terms of calculating the no paid leave, that it will be following a same formula as what we have calculated for the salary proration. So on this part, yeah, that will be required to be applied by the employee. Yeah, then it will be captured in the payroll.
I'm looking at the chat column right now. So I guess a lot of them have been asking as well, in terms of filling up forms. I guess the TP3 seems to be a very popular question here that we did run through earlier. In terms of, if they do not know how to fill it up, where and how do they go and get those sort of guidance and support from?
Yeah, I would say that the practice of the TP3 is not very common in many companies. Yeah, because most of the employee, when they resign, they don't even get the TP3 from their previous employer. So I would say that that is the parts that the challenge of the employee. So there will be a few ways that they can also find out the information without the TP3. Yeah, because if the employee, they have their payslip, okay, from the previous employer. So in fact, we can based on the numbers in the payslip to work out the information in the TP3. Yeah. So yeah, that is the alternate method that we can collect the information to fill up the TP3 as well.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and just to add on as well, our onboarding team, they are there to assist you in these sort of matters. So when you do sign up for our product demo, or when you are running through your onboarding process, our team will guide you in terms of the forms required, how to fill in the data, and how to keep things updated from then on. Okay. Another question that we have came in terms of, sorry, let me just pull that up. In terms of contribution, EPF contribution in the salary bracket, there is difference, right?
EPF contributions and salary.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was
I
the question.
probably, what is the,
Okay, then we'll come back to that question. Let us answer this. Okay, this is System e-data PCB. So it says, hi, I use the System e-data PCB to upload text file and make payment on 15th of August. However, I received a penalty letter stating that was late payment. And I was told by the IRB it doesn't consider as a valid date as they will assume that the payment is only effective on 17th of August. So in terms of, because we know the cutoff date is on the 15th of every month, is 15th still able? Can they still submit it on the 15th, or it has to be done way before the 15th?
yeah, I will say that for this user, if you are using the e-data to submit your PCB payment, all right. So it will also accept the FPX where you can make the payment on the spot, all right. So for every submission made by the EPCB, there will be a PDF as a receipt. All right. So that receipt is the proof of payment when as the date that they have received the payment. So on this part, that I believe there will be some misunderstanding that I believe it can be explained to the LHDN officials if the receipt can be provided. And the good news is if you have an EPCB login, you can actually download the receipt from the months that you make the contribution, which is on August. Yes.
All right. I guess as well, another question that a lot of them will have in terms of whoever's running payroll, reporting, what are the kinds of report that Swingby can generate and what is needed, things like that.
Yeah, Swingby will provide the sophisticated report for all the payroll needs. Yeah, including the monthly reports, the statutory reports, and also the variance reports. So those are the reports that it will greatly help out the payroll admin to verify and validate the payroll result that they run every month.
Great, great. And just to be just going back again. So earlier when you mentioned running payroll in Swingby just takes 6 minutes, I guess a lot of them is wondering how to do it in 6 minutes when it usually takes me half a day or a full day to run payroll. I guess what we can then elaborate further here in how is it done manually versus usually when you do it in Swingby, the bank file. We shall actually touch deeper onto the bank file and how that actually expedite the whole process. So if you can just elaborate on that for our audiences.
Yeah, that's okay. Let me give some details about the time and the efficiencies, like, because we want to create a system which is so straightforward and streamlined to automate most of the process. So how can we reduce the numbers, the time tremendously? Because if we rely on the calculation of every single statutory item, so imagine like for the normal Malaysian, every month they will have 4 types of deduction as a mandatory of the statutory. So one is EPF, SOCSO, EIS, and also income tax. So the income tax is only applied for those employee if they are earning, averagely they are earning 4,000 a month, then they will be entered into the taxable income. So the income tax will have to be deducted for this range of employee. So other than the income tax, those 3 are mandatory: EPF, SOCSO, and EIS. So if they still rely on manual system, then it will be taking up some time, very time consuming to refer every individual for every employee. So the good thing is, yeah, all this calculation, it will be calculated automatically at the moment that they generate the payroll. So they don't have to do the individual calculation, and they can just use up all the numbers which is generated by our system. So That will be the great part on the time saving. So other than that, that will be come to the payment file. So if without a system, if your company you have about 10 employee, then you will need to do a salary transfer to those 10 employee. And the conventional way is you would have to do it individually, which means that you have to transfer 10 times, right? So with Swingvy, we will provide you the compatible bank file, which you can download straight from Swingvy, and you can upload it once. Means that all the employee can be processed in one single process in your bank transfer. So that will also save up a tremendous time to do the salary transfer for your employee.
And could you also let everybody to know in terms of what are the banks that Swingvy are currently integrated with, and how if a client or a prospect is with a bank that is not integrated with Swingvy as yet?
Yeah, right. I would say that we have covered mostly the major bank available in Malaysia. Yeah, that including Maybank, Public Bank, CIMB, RHB, and Hong Leong. All right. So those are the major bank which is used by most of our customer base right now. So from time to time, yeah, we will also receive some of the requests where they will have some bank which is not covered in our platform. So the good thing is those bank file, it will be continuing adding to our platform. So if you have any bank which is not mentioned earlier, yeah, then don't worry about that. We will still build it for the requirement as is per the customer needs.
Great. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, just to reiterate what Nicole has said, this is something we do complimentary on our end to generate files and to integrate it with your bank. Last two questions that we have. One of it is, Nicole, in terms of payroll processing when an employee leaves, withholding salary, doing deductions and things like that, is that possible to be done in Swingvy platform?
Yeah, right. So that is called the clearance. Yeah, because it depends on if the employee, if they are leaving the country or anything. So the proper process is if the employee, they are resigning and if they are leaving the country, then yeah, they will have to fill up the CP22 form, which is a withholding tax. All right, so they will need to get a clearance from the LHDN before the salary can be released to the employee.
Okay, great. And how about differentiation between foreigners, locals? Is our system able to also do that?
Yeah, I will say that Swingvy, we are able to process the payroll for local or foreigner as well. So the foreigner, if they got the work permit, yeah, then they will be allowed to work in Malaysia. And the statutory, everything can be configured exactly like the requirement. So as a foreigner, if they are in the company, then for some of the contribution can be excluded, like EPF. So they do not have to deduct on the EPF contribution, and they will deduct on the SOCSO and also the income tax. So yeah, all these things can be defined in the Swingvy system, and it will manage the payroll computation for non-Malaysian.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Nicole, for your time today. That's all the time that we have for this session right now. These questions, please do keep your questions coming, ladies and gentlemen. We will definitely be answering all of them, even out of the session as well. We will be putting out a link where you can go and find out all these questions, read more and understand. To know more about Swingvy, do head onto our website at swingvy.com or drop us an email at sales@swingvy.com. Our team more than happy to schedule a presentation and to give insights and to help you solve all your payroll issues. Any last words from yourself, Nicole?
Yeah, thanks for all the audience joining us today. Yeah, we are happy to have you all here. So yeah, just like what Julian mentioned, yeah, please keep on visiting our webpage for the latest information. We will posting out in our blog post to share the knowledge on the upcoming changes and also the new features in our product as well. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you again, everybody. Do remember to hit the like button, subscribe, and follow us on all our social media channels. Until next week, same time, same place. Stay tuned for hashtag #AskSwingvy. I'm Julian. Thank you, and have a good week ahead. Bye bye.
Swingvy.